What's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Green right here to give you my thoughts and feelings on the brand new Adam Sandler Happy Gilmore 2. Now, real quick before I jump into this review, if any of y'all have never seen the original Happy Gilmore that came out way back in 1996, I'm gonna give you a pass. That movie's like 29, 30 years old, okay? But it went down like this. So Adam Sandler is playing Happy Gilmore. This guy is an aspiring hockey player, and he's not very good at hockey. But he does learn through a sequencing of events that he's extremely good at smashing that golf ball hella far down the green. Now, his grandma's house is about to be taken by the IRS because she owes hella money in taxes, and he figures that he can use this newfound golf skill to hustle up some money at the golf course. He ends up doing that, but in doing that, he also makes his way onto the Pro Tour, and he ends up winning the entire championship, getting baller money, fame, and all of that, including marrying the love of his life. Cut to Happy Gilmore 2. 30 years later, they're married, they got a bunch of kids, and he's still rich and famous. Now, unfortunately, tragedy strikes his family that kind of came by his own hands. You gotta watch the movie to see how that plays out. But because of this, he goes into a downward spiral of depression and alcoholism, to which there is no return for this guy. He ends up spending all of his money, and they end up broke as a joke. Problem is, he's got to still support his family, and he's trying to send his daughter to this dope performing arts school. So now he's in a pickle. He's got to raise some money. He's got to step back out on the course, pick up the golf clubs, and do what he never thought he would do again, which is be great at a sport he don't really like, but respects just enough. And here we are with Happy Gilmore 2. Now, this movie was directed by Kyle Newacek, and it was written by Tim Hurley and Adam Sandler. Now, I want to speak on my thoughts when I first heard that they were making a Happy Gilmore 2. Initially, I was like, for what? Why are you doing this? Come on, Adam. You can do better. And the reason I feel that way is because a lot of the movies that Adam Sandler has come out with as of late in regards to comedies are extremely subpar from what we know this man to be capable of. He's done a lot of stuff with Netflix, and yes, it's family friendly. They have their moments, but ultimately they're forgettable. The storylines are whatever. And me personally, they're just not that good. But for me, his drama work that he's been doing as of late is stellar. Just thinking of two movies, Uncut Gems and Hustle, that was on Netflix a while back, those two films are phenomenal. So I'm thinking, Adam, let me get more drama from you. But I am so happy to say that this movie does feel like a return to form for Adam Sandler in regards to the comedy realm. And I think it's a refreshing take on the comedy sequels that are coming like years later. If I'm looking at like Coming to America 2, when I first heard they were doing that, I was kind of excited. I'm like, all right, Eddie Murphy ain't been around in a cool minute with anything super significant. What's he gonna give us? And for me, that movie was dog shit, right? I feel like there was random cameos for no reason. The story was whack. The comedians in it didn't really add much to it. And the nostalgia was just nostalgia bait. I feel like that with a lot of movies, comedy-wise and other, that have sequels coming like, 20, 30 years afterwards, right? Top Gun Maverick, exception that disproves that rule that I'm talking about. This movie, I feel, is an exception that disproves that rule. It does have that nostalgia, but it builds on that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, with that out the way, what did I think about this movie? I think it's phenomenal. Now, look, I know I say that a lot. Sometimes my vocabulary is very low. But honestly, as I'm watching it progress, when it opens up, it's giving you kind of the backstory, what's been going on over the recent 30 years. And I'm like super engaged, laughing during this backstory, intrigued at everything that's jumping off, the ups and the downs and all of that jazz. Then it goes into showcasing his family. What are they like? What are they doing? All that. Where are his friends? What's he been doing with himself? All these things are actually really entertaining up at the top as he's narrating what's been jumping off over the past 30 years. So it hooked me from the beginning. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, back in my mind, I'm kind of waiting for it to fall off. And it just never does. There's a couple of times when I'm like, all right, I could have did without that scene or that scene, but it's so far and few in between that it's like, I shouldn't even mention it, right? Literally throughout the movie, I kept turning to my wife like, yo, this movie's really freaking good. I was so excited and I was laughing my ass off through the whole thing. It was great. But let me give you some more specifics. Probably my number one reason why I thought this movie was dope as hell was because of the nostalgia and how they utilized it, right? In this film, you're gonna get a return of pretty much all those classic characters from the original Happy Gilmore movie. However, instead of them just coming back and being the notes that they were in the original, they build in more to those characters, and I loved it. Ben Stiller, right? Shooter McGavin is up in this piece. You get a reference to Chubbs, right? And a family member of his. You get all these different characters. You get the tax guy from the first movie, from the IRS. You get the guy who was kind of running the tour, president type guy. I don't know what his title actually is, but you get him in this. You're getting a lot of these classic characters, and they've grown, they've evolved since then, and they showcase that. And I thought that was, one, creative, two, paying respect to the characters and building out this movie and this world and this universe, because I actually feel, based on Adam Sandler's narration at the top of everything that's been going on, and then when we're introduced to these classic characters and they got more going on with them and they're having meaningful and impactful conversations with Happy to the plot of the film and all that sort of stuff, it just made me feel like literally there was stuff jumping off for 30 years in between that we missed, and we're getting kind of caught up on all that. And it felt cozy, comfortable, warm, and nostalgic. And I loved it. It worked so well. So big ups to Adam Sandler and Tim for the way that they wrote this situation and brought everybody back and really made you feel the nostalgia in all of the best ways. It was great. The other thing that hella worked for me with this film was the overall plot and story. In this movie, Adam Sandler, once again, he's trying to raise money for a good cause. But in the background, you got this other dude who's trying to change the way golf is. Think of like the XFL, or how people say that golf or baseball is too slow and they want changes, they want something a little bit more exciting. Think of the X Games kind of being the answer to classic Olympics. They got that type of situation jumping off in this movie. And when you think of like different personalities online between like TikTokers, YouTubers, X, whatever it may be, you got your ESPN personalities, all of that, everybody in this world talking about that type of thing in our real world, they address that in this fictitious world. But in that addressing it, they're using actual professional golfers, and they're using actual like ESPN personalities and things of this nature, and actual people that are probably got, you know, YouTube channels and TikToks and all that sort of stuff. So then it grounds it in the real world. It makes it kind of a breaking the fourth wall satire type comedy, right? It was just very creative, brought me into this world, gave me something new to root for aside from just raising the money and aside from just beefing with like one other person on the tour. It gave us a new entity to root against and root for Happy and other characters and how they kind of join him, which is fly as hell. So that aspect and creativity of the story really worked for me. And probably the main thing that had me rolling on my ass at times with laughter and joy and warmth and really feeling connected was the character development for Adam Sandler's family, his friends, neighbors, things like that, his kids. You can really feel like, yeah, these are his kids. Yeah, this is his family. Also, super fly, Adam Sandler putting his wife in this film and his two daughters in this film. I didn't know that. I had to look it up later. But my wife was telling me, I think that's his daughter. So I looked that up, and for sure, it is. And this, to me, is one of those things when Hollywood nepotism is working. You dig? I remember Bruce Willis had his daughter in the movie Hostage just for a brief scene. She auditioned for it. She got the role. Fine. But here, Adam Sandler's working with his family, and it's really working. Like, his daughter's a good actress. You know what I'm saying? She was selling me on the role that she was in. And you can really tell in their chemistry, and it really felt like father and daughter. He really wanted to help her out. And that just added another layer for me of warmth, verisimilitude, and grounding it in a more of a real world vibe because their chemistry was so authentic. I loved it. Now, continuing on with my thoughts of the story and why that was so dope, the other thing that I loved about it is that, and I've mentioned this in recent videos, the universe that Adam Sandler has created with this Happy Gilmore, right? This is now the Happy Gilmore universe. It's the sequel. And they stay true to who these characters are. And when they bring certain characters together, you could be like, why the hell would he be working with this person or chopping it up with that person like it's all good? But the way that they bring it together makes a lot of sense and it's very logical to the story. So again, for me, someone who can be a bit nitpicky at times when it comes to people that are like, yo, you're my sworn enemy, but now I'm gonna rock with you, you gotta explain why. And they do that in this movie. So again, story on point, character development on point, nostalgia on point to the point where it wasn't too forced. It fit very well, and then they built upon it and made it even more funny and great than what those characters have ever done in the past. We're gonna be thinking about what they do here probably more than what they did there. I promise you that. So good. Everything was great. Another thing that I thought was great about this movie was the fact that Adam Sandler brought actual professional athletes into this film. He probably could have hired any old type of actor to be these professional golfers, but why not? Just go get the real guys. Now, I don't follow golf like that, but I could imagine that someone who does follow golf, who hella idolizes these people, is really gonna have a great time watching their favorite golfer play off of Adam Sandler in this way. Funny stuff jumping off with him and these golf guys, right? So it was great. I think you should check it out. I want to say to Netflix, stop messing up your paper. I'm not sure how much this movie cost, but had you put this in theater, I think that it would have done really, really great. Maybe not this weekend because you got Fantastic Four, which I heard is dope AF, but it is still kind of counter programming, right? Comic book movies, superhero swag, action, comedy. This movie could have probably pulled in both. Regardless, should have put it in theaters, probably would have made all your money back in 1 week, got more people to see it, and then it would have lived on your platform forever and a day, and people have to go to your platform to see it. I once heard Quentin Tarantino say that he doesn't really want any movie to ever be released on streaming or to do a movie for streaming because then it just gets lost in the ether. It just gets lost in the interwebs, which is really true because I know a lot of people didn't hear about this movie coming out. The only reason I knew it was coming out is because I keep my ear to the ground and watch a lot of movie news shit all over YouTube. That's how I knew about it. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have known that this movie was coming out unless it popped up randomly on my queue. Anyway, point is, this movie is great. I didn't think it was gonna be as good as it was to me. And maybe that's a reason why I went in with low expectations. But bottom line, I was laughing my ass off like the entire time. I love the story. Adam Sandler was great. The surrounding characters were great. The nostalgia was fly as hell. He had real golfers in there and it was fun to see them play off of him. The story was dope. It was funny. And you need to go check this movie out. It's on Netflix right now. That's all I got for you. Your homie, Jay Green. I'm out.